Okay, you guys, the next thing I will be attaching this thermal switch to this coil. This thermal switch needs to be let me show you, about like that. It needs to be like this to the coil. You can see it better. Sorry about that. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'll put a heat shrink right here, and this will hold will hold it to the top 14 gauge conductor here in place. So here we go. Let's attach that. Here we are. Okay. Now I will excuse me, make sure you see it. I will heat shrink it here in just a second. Okay, so this will keep this in place here. Now I will connect the wires. One more thing that I will do here is one of the blue wires I will connect to one of these thermal switch wire here. So here we go. I'll cut it here, and then I will attach them here like that, and I'll solder it here. Here we go, and I'll put a heat shrink over. I'll shrink it. Okay, now I got two wires coming out, and I got two thick wires and two thin wires. So what I'm trying to do is have my connection probably on these two wires. I'll have it one connection here, one connection here in this area. So I'll cut it like that, and I'll put a solder on it, and then I'll get my wires. Here is my wires. I already measure. So this is a 12 gauge, two 12 gauge, and two 18 gauge multiple conductor here, and this is multiple conductor as well. These are soft wires from extension cords. I use it. I buy brand new extension cords, 12 gauge, and I use it because it has a multiple stranded wire, and it allows me to bend it. So all right, I'm gonna need to get some insulation up here. There's one, two, twist it, twist this, two, and I'll attach the wires here. So they're coming down here, and I will put a solder on it. So let's start with this. Put a solder on this one. Okay, and I got a couple more wires here. I need to put a solder on. It's this one and one more here. 18 gauge. They need to have solder on. So now on these sides, here one, here two, here three, and the 14 gauge main wire. So these two will go here, 1, 2, and then I have 2 more thick ones will go on these wires, 1, 2. All right, let's solder this. Doesn't matter, you guys, what color you use. You can use any color. Later you will have to identify it anyway. Make a good connection. It's very important. Make sure it all shines and sparky. Let me get some solder here. Flux. And we'll attach it here. All right, I got a connection here. Now we have 18 gauge. To connect, you need 2 heat shrink, one here and another one here. That will go onto this wire. Excuse me. Once I get input up, I will solder it here on and solder it here too. Okay, I just have to heat shrink everything. So let's put a heat shrink over here, put a heat shrink over here, put this heat shrink over here. Doesn't go, that's fine. And this won't go either, that's fine. I have heat shrinks from the other side. Let's heat shrink it. Heat shrink what we have, and we'll put those right. Okay. Then I put this red heat shrinks here on the main wires, and I'll heat shrink them. Heat shrink it nice. Okay, so what I have is, here's what I have left with my wires. I have 2 main wires coming into the coil. They're connected to the 12 gauge wire here, and then I have 18 gauge that's coming in. One goes to the thermal switch, and the thermal switch comes out and goes into the LED indicator, comes out of the LED indicator and connects to the 18 gauge. All right, so the next step I will do is I will put a little tape over here. Okay, another thing I do is I would add a little bit of insulation right here on the back of here. So So I just need a small piece like that, very small piece. Now I take this, place it right here, right underneath this. I'm sorry, right underneath here I place it. So right here. Okay, the next thing we'll be putting the sleeve on it. And let me grab the sleeve here. This is the sleeve I use. So I gotta straighten out the wires first. So what I will do is I'll straighten out the wires. This is the end of my wires. What I will do is put a tape over here. And I'll cut these wires, they don't need to be long. Okay. Now I will start inserting this wire inside the sleeve. Let's go ahead and do it. Start putting it in. Excuse me. Okay, it's almost getting to the coil. Need some more. Okay, now I will put the tape over here at this point over here. About this much. All right. So the next thing I will do is I will put a tape about here, but before I put tape on here I will put quite a bit of sleeve over this way. I'll have a good chunk of it right here. So let's go ahead and push some sleeve here. So that's already thick here. Put some more, a little more. I gotta have a little more to play with. Okay, that should be enough. All right, so now what I do is I push it more like that, and when I get it to here I'll put a sleeve, put a tape over here. Okay, and I'll push this back. this back, and this will make it right here, this knot. And then I will take my other coils from here and I'll place it on the coil and I'll measure it and see how much is coming out. Right now that's quite a bit more than I want. I want to be like that, so I'll have to shorten some. Alright, let's shorten some. Go back here, unroll, take a tape off, and move back about that much, and put the tape back. Then put the sleeve back and take another measurement with the existing coil. Okay, this time have a small sleeve coming out here, and that's what I want. That's about how much I want, is from here. Alright, so the next thing I will do is I will use a shrink wrap, and I'll shrink wrap it all the way from here to here. Okay, so once that is done, I will cut this sleeve off. So I'll move this back, move this loose part back. Here is where the sleeve ends, right here. I'll go back about this much and I'll put a tape over here. Okay, then I will bring the sleeve up and I will cut this around here like that. This way I can take it off. So one side here left. That's it. Couple of strains here, and then I'll cut it here. And I have my wires coming out here from the sleeve, and this much wires I would leave. And this is ready for the next step.